Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie, again. So this is the second live that I've done today on Easter Friday. Anyway, I've just jumped on quickly. I won't be on long. We've got premiere coming out soon. So Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Do we remember the case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard? So Gypsy was the girl who was quite abused by her mum because her mum had Munchausen's by proxy, it's thought. So her mum pretended that Gypsy was ill ever since she was a little girl. I've done quite a few videos about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and I will try and remember to put these in the description box to link them so you can watch them. So, for most of her life, Gypsy was treated like an invalid. And her mother Dee Dee, invented lots of illnesses that she didn't really have for attention and for financial gain. As Gypsy got older, now my problem with Gypsy is obviously, I think everybody will feel for that girl from when she was little, how she was abused, how she was encouraged to pretend she was ill, etc. The problem I have with Gypsy is as she got older, I think it seems quite obvious as she got older, she did become in charge of her own money, her own destiny. So she met a boyfriend through a Christian dating site. Poor Nicholas. I say poor, I mean I don't know why I always end up feeling sorry for Nicholas, because Nicholas was on the autistic spectrum. He was very easily manipulated by Gypsy. Now, what we have to remember about Gypsy Rose Blanchard is she was a manipulator. She learned from an arch manipulator. In the end, Gypsy knew that she could walk, knew that she didn't have these illnesses the same, but she was very controlled by her mother, and I appreciate that. So anyway, what she did was she met Nicholas on a dating site, on a Christian dating site. She did introduce him to her mum, but she said that her mum went mad. Mum wasn't happy with her seeing Nicholas, etc., etc. Anyway, Gypsy Rose Blanchard asked Nicholas to kill her mother. It was her who brought it up first. Let's just have a look at some photos, just so that you can, just to remind you, some of you may not know about this case. It's a very, very famous case. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this live today is because Gypsy, anyway, what happened was Nicholas murdered Gypsy's mum. Dee Dee stabbed her to death, violently stabbed her to death while she was calling Gypsy's name. Gypsy was hiding in the bathroom, shaving her legs and all her parts apparently, because directly after Nicholas murdered her mother, they then had sex. So it's a horrible story, because yes, Gypsy obviously the way her mum controlled her and tried to pretend she was ill was terrible. But you know what, Gypsy, she let's have a look at her. Let's have a look at some photos. This is Gypsy, and this is the guy that she married while she was in prison, who actually looks just like a mum. So the news is she's split from him. After 3 months of being out of prison, her and her husband have separated. Well, when we did videos about it, we knew this was going to happen. Maybe not quite as soon. Wasn't expecting it quite as soon as this. But to me, I think Gypsy is a very manipulative person. Maybe it's not her fault that she's ended up like that, but all the same, I think she is. So she manipulated her first boyfriend. She manipulated him to murder her mother for her, and she only received, I think it was 10 years in prison. She's now released, free to live her life. She's loving life. She was all over Instagram. She's writing books. She's appearing in documentaries. Anyway, it's all going a little bit pear-shaped now because she has come off Instagram. We're going to look at that. She is split up from her husband. I mean, why she would marry someone and he wasn't the first one she was engaged to. Now, of course, the original boyfriend that she got to murder her mother for her, he's still in prison. He's still in prison. He's not coming out ever. He's got life without parole unless he gets granted a new trial or something drastic happens. She's out living her best life. And it was her idea, and it was to kill her own mother. Now, I'm not saying that she should necessarily have got life. But what I'm saying is Dee Dee, at the end of the day, was murdered. And we haven't got Dee Dee's side of things, have we? And it seems evident that Dee Dee was a little bit of a, was a strange person and did, use Gypsy and did pretend that she was ill for financial gain, etc. But even so, you don't murder someone. Gypsy was able to walk. She was able to get into a relationship with Nicholas. Why did she not go to the authorities, sell her story then, instead of murdering her mother? And in the meantime, Nicholas is rotting away in prison and she's off doing whatever she wants to do. So it's a very strange situation, the whole thing, I think. And the thing that struck me at the time more than anything is this guy that she married is the spit of her mother. Anyway, so let's have a look at this video. So let's have a look at why she came off Instagram. So she's media, you can imagine. She's been saying all these things about her husband, how he rocks her world every night. Lots of sexual things she's been talking about. Too much information, to be perfectly honest. We watched a couple of interviews in the other videos that I did of this couple. And, I expressed at the time, this is just not, you don't go so public as that. This is not a celebrity. This is not Kim Kardashian. This is a murderer. This is not like, Beyonce or bloody Shakira or whatever. This is a girl who conspired and, in fact, organised the murder of her own mother for whatever type of person Dee Dee might have been. She organised it. And all right, she's done her time now, but she shouldn't be all over social media like she's, a celebrity or something. She's not a celebrity. She is a murderer at the end of the day. So apparently about a month ago, right, let me share this tab with you. This is the Daily Mirror. This was when she came out. She was taking selfie after selfie. There was picture after picture. After this fun, he took her to buy shoes, and they were, they were all over the media when she came out of prison. This is when they were in prison. They married while she was in prison. So the 32-year-old has split from her husband, Ryan Scott Anderson, just months after being released from prison. She announced that she had parted ways with Ryan after less than 2 years of marriage, bearing in mind only 3 months of them have been in person. And in an emotional post, of course it would be emotional, she knows how to make posts. She knows how to pull at the heartstrings. She's learned from the best manipulator. So she revealed the reason behind the surprise split. People have been asking what is going on in my life. Unfortunately, my husband and I are going through a separation, and I moved in with my parents down the bayou, Gypsy Rose. I have the support of my family and friends to help guide me through this. I'm learning to listen to my heart. You should listen to your heart, then your heart might have told you not to kill your mother. Right now, I need time to let myself find who I am, she cryptically added, hinting that they had divorced after growing apart. Well, they had never met until 3 months ago. They'd met, but they'd not had a normal relationship. So she served only 8 years of a 10-year sentence for plotting to murder her mother with then boyfriend Nick Godijon in 2015. Nick wasn't so lucky with an 8-year sentence. Nick is life without parole because he actually committed the act of murdering Dee Dee. He did murder Dee Dee. Of course, he deserves, a long sentence, but it just feels like, if you watch him being interviewed as well, there's definitely quite a lot of manipulation going on here. And apparently Gypsy admits she tried to kill her mum years before her boyfriend murdered her. Sorry. So Gypsy and Ryan began dating in 2020, and the relationship between her and the special education teacher blossomed when they wrote to each other while Gypsy was still in prison. They tied the knot in July 2022 at the correctional centre, and when she was released early in December last year, she spoke of her plans to remarry Ryan in a romantic ceremony outside prison. So they had their formal ceremony in prison, but they were supposed to be, having a proper ceremony. We do plan on having a reception, redo wedding with all our family and our friends, and the dress and the cake and everything, because we deserve that. I deserve that. He deserves that. Anyway, so Gypsy has hinted at marriage problems early this month when she deleted her public Instagram account. And since she has only used social media on private accounts. Now it's thought that she's been told to do that because her, swanning it all over social media is not conducive with her parole requirements. You're not supposed to profit from a crime, are you? And whatever the history, whatever the reasons, Dee Dee is dead, murdered. And she has profited from this crime. So she said, I've never lived with a man. I grew up with a mum. I didn't even grow up with a dad in the house. So I'm like, I don't even know what it's like to live with a man. So she was bound to a wheelchair for more than 2 decades after being convinced she was suffering from a multitude of health issues by her mother. Now, it is awful. It is awful what Dee Dee did to her. But I do think later on, as she got older, she didn't know of a lot of it, and she was complicit in a lot of the manipulation. And really what she should have done is Nicholas, she could have got him to help her escape. That would have been the best thing to do, wouldn't it? Anyway, it's all easy in hindsight. I'm not in Gypsy's shoes, thank God. So who knows what goes through her mind. But it just seems to me, honestly, I do have this bad feeling about this girl. I think this is going to be one thing after another. The next thing she'll be falling out with her family, because she is, I expect she's receiving a lot of psychiatric help. I hope so. She has not lived a normal life. So to go into living a normal life, it will be difficult for Gypsy wherever she is. And she, all the attention, mum was just doing everything for her. It'd be hard for her now to do things for herself. And that's why I think she ended up with him, because to me, that could, that picture, really, if he took his suit off and put a dress on, that could be her mum, which is odd, I think. Anyway, let's have a look at this. I want to just watch this video on News Nation talking. This is before they split. They don't know here, when they're making this video about her splitting from her husband. What they know about here is about the Instagram account, the public social media accounts being cancelled. Oh, what happened there? Hang on, sorry. What happened there? Did I turn it off by mistake? I know. Sorry, I've got to actually go to YouTube. Hang on. Video. Right. I'm not sure if I can find it this way. Let's see. Sorry. Sorry. I had it ready, but it's not on YouTube. I've got to get it on YouTube. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go. This is it.
Fairly
There you go.
maligned.
Right, you should be able to see it now. Sorry, that took
Actually,
a little
I'm
while.
so curious in particular, your thoughts on this one. Is she being unfairly maligned?
I think this is nuts. She has the right to live her life. She served her time. I work on television. Isn't she allowed to work in the capacity where she can actually make a living? By the way, I heard nothing from Gypsy Rose other than she took accountability for what she did. She always said that she shouldn't have done what she did, that her mother shouldn't be dead, and that instead her mother should be incarcerated for what her mother did to her. To me,
now, so these people were being interviewed about her social media, public social media account being removed. Now, Banfield, I really like Banfield, but she saying, no, why shouldn't she have a social media account? She says, I'm famous for being on the news. Yeah, it's not the same, Banfield. Sorry, it's not the same. She is not a celebrity newscaster. She's a murderess. You know, we cannot forget what she did, even though we understand the reasons behind it. She did not only conspire to murder her mother, but I think she had the main role. Really, would Nicholas have ever murdered anybody if he had never met Gypsy? No. But Gypsy has admitted that she tried to kill her mother before, and she probably would have tried to kill her again. But, you know, there was Nicholas. He was a perfect patsy. He was a perfect patsy. He's autistic. He's got, you know, problems with the, you know, his mental health problems. And she just came along and sort of swept him away. So, you know, normally it would always be for me to take the girl's side. But I can't in this instance. I feel for Nicholas. It was wrong what he did, and he murdered Dee Dee. And of course it was wrong. But you know what? This time I think it's the man that's been manipulated. And Gypsy, you know, why didn't she just lead a quiet life? Yes, maybe write a book, because she's got to live. She's got to live and, you know, yeah, make as much money out of it as you can in one way, but not all this. Like she's some sort of, you know, on the red carpet, like some sort of star. She is a murderer. She is not a star.
me, that's somebody who did a lot of growing up during her sentence, which is exactly what the criminal justice system is supposed to do. I found her to be very accountable, and I thought that it was impressive how she handled herself while she was out. I think it's despicable that a parole officer should say, because you're on TikTok, you might get sent back to jail.
Let me play a piece of sound. This is a video before she removed herself, and some people have talked about the fact that she sounds like she's a Hollywood actor when she's talking about her upcoming projects. This is number 2.
I've got my documentary series coming out, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I just put out an ebook that I'm super proud of. It's not a rehashing of everything that happened. It's more of my reflection of everything that I've.
Now, I know we're living in a different time now, of course, aren't we? You know, and it's all, she's a young girl. Young girls are all about Instagram, or this is TikTok, this particular interview. But anyway, the parole board got the right ump about it in the end, and they've told her to take down these public, these public profiles. She's allowed to have a, her personal social media, just like anyone does, but she's been told that she may be breaking her parole, because she is on parole. I mean, she could be taken back to prison, but even if she was taken back to prison, she only got 2 years to go. It's just, I feel that if this was a man, people would be more up in arms about it. Everybody feels sympathy for Gypsy because of what she went through, and she did go through a lot. But as she got older, I do think she could have escaped from it. And she could have got Nicholas's mum. So can you imagine, if that was your son and he's ended up in prison for life, and this girl who you feel has manipulated your son is out free and all over bloody social media and this, that and the other, you'd be a bit pissed off, wouldn't you? Anyway, his mum did come out and say she could have come to me. They could have both come to me. I would have got her away from there. There was no attempt to do it that way.
Learned. Thank you guys for all the support, and keep watching.
Jesse, I'm with Ashley on this. I don't see.
I also don't like this. Thank you guys. I think that voice, she's had to create that voice because she was, always told to act younger than she was. She never knew her true age, I don't think, until she went to prison or whatever. But, and I know, so it's this sickly sweet. And then in the next minute, she's talking about him rocking her world in the bedroom. Well, make your mind up, Gypsy. Are you like the little sickly sweet sort of, sweet as an innocent type, or are you the devil in the bedroom? Or maybe you're a bit of both. I don't know, but really I don't want to know about what you're doing in the bedroom with your husband, to be honest. But the sickly sweet thing I don't like. Are you Shirley Temple, or are you bloody a femme fatale? Make your mind up. Well, with Nicholas, she was both, because she would change her personality. She would dress up, send photos, which is what couples do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying shouldn't do that. But I do feel really strongly that Gypsy is a very, very manipulative young woman.
A problem. You troubled by this?
I was. I mean, look, I was very disturbed, more so by the media's fascination and building her up, asking her about her dating life. I mean, she did kill her mother and was part of the planning of it. But the fact that she's taken accountability, and the fact that now she says, I realize that there has to be a change. Yes, there's pressure from a parole officer, because a big component is you have to show remorse. You have to show that you're rehabilitated. And the
do what? She's out. What do you mean? To who does she have to show that?
Because the idea is you have to respect for the crime that you committed.
But to who?
But if you go out there and you're looking like you're profiting off of what you did, that's the problem. This is not new, by the way. There are conditions that are put on convicted felons all the time on what they can put on social media, because if they go out and like, I'm free, did nothing wrong. I mean, in one interview, she said, I don't identify as a murderer. Now, I can make a context for what she was saying there, but someone could look at that and say, that's what you say after what you pled guilty to? So I can see why people are bothered by it, but I think it's a really good thing that she...
Well, she said she didn't identify as a murderer, but she is a murderer. I'm sorry, but she is. And maybe, if she hadn't have said that, maybe I'd feel a bit more sympathy with her. He said, you've got to take accountability for what you've done. Well, she's not really done that, has she? And she never, ever mentions Nicholas. Nicholas is by, forget Nicholas. He doesn't even come enter a stratosphere now. Nicholas is languishing in jail for the rest of his life. She probably never even gives him a second thought. And the only one out of this, you'll find that one of them out of this panel does sort of not take the view that Gypsy is some sort of innocent, but only one.
He has said she's going to step down and take an account.
Geraldo?
She's going to step down and reflect. It's true, Jesse, but she did share with us that her husband, boyfriend, jailhouse boyfriend, is rocking her world every night. So I was very delighted to hear that Gypsy Rose is getting her world rocked every night. Listen, the practical
Look at Banfield's face there. So they're all looking at him. Nobody wants to laugh because they think it might not be politically correct, but he's right. All that when she came out of prison with that husband of hers and all the unwarranted detail, even celebrities and that, they don't come out with all that crap. It's like, look at us and what we're doing, and just horrible, really. So, and bearing in mind, she is a criminal, she's a murderer, she's not even a celebrity. You don't even get, Beyonce coming out and saying how her husband's rocking her world every night, or that is information nobody needs to know. That is private information. And to be honest, it conjures up images that I don't even want to think about.
Aspect of this is that there's the parole officer. He's overseeing someone who is conditionally released, and they've got to comply with the conditions of the conditional release. It just seems to me that the parole officer, probably getting pressure from his superiors or her superiors, is saying to the subject, cool it.
It makes me laugh how they're describing Geraldo as a veteran journalist. I wonder if he knows that he's got that. He had that heading underneath him a minute ago. Now, Geraldo, he had a talk show, didn't he? A bit like Dr. Phil, or maybe not like Dr. Phil, because Dr. Phil is a doctor. He had a talk show for a long time. A bit I can't think of one currently who does, mate. But yeah, he did. Geraldo, he had a lot of guests on, etc., and he'd talk about social issues, etc. So he was a bit, but like a serious Jerry Springer. He wasn't like Jerry Springer, but so that they've just had him with the caption "veteran journalist." Not quite sure if he would have quite liked to have been called that, but he is old school, so that's probably why he's not buying all this crap that Gypsy's giving us.
We get it, but you're going to be in trouble if you don't show the appropriate
What is she in trouble
contrition
for? I don't understand what she's
not showing remorse. Not showing remorse. That's what the image has come out.
But she's going to go back to prison?
She's got a dead.
Look, she showed remorse.
Could certainly
I saw
have
lots of clips
onerous
where
conditions
she showed remorse.
Go ahead, Geraldo.
Well, no, I think that this bad taste involved also. I mean, the mom's dead. Okay, maybe she deserved it, quote unquote. I don't know. I don't know Gypsy Rose. I haven't been invested emotionally in her trajectory since being released from prison, other than thinking that it is bizarre what it takes to be famous in America these days, and how you would hate to have her as a role model, kill your abusive mom because you're going to get out, and when you get out, you're going to get a show on MTV, if that's still a thing.
And look, real quick,
She doesn't celebrate.
Remember
She doesn't celebrate.
There's a dead mom.
Her boyfriend's still in prison. And so there's an allegation, there was always an allegation. Did she manipulate him into doing this? He's still rotting away for what he did. And let me tell you, what he did was horrific. Yeah. But the idea is that she's out living her best life. There's people who are bothered by it. As Geraldo said, it leaves a bad taste.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's.
Okay, so now, hi, Charlie. Now, somebody, Slinky Socks was asking there, I think she just says, she doesn't give a reason. She says, all she says is, when I moved in with my, what did she add? She said it was because she wasn't used to living with men. She'd never lived with men. She'd always always been her. Yeah, here. I've never lived with a man. I grew up with a mum, so I didn't even grow up with a dad. I don't know what it's like to live in a man. However, that's what she said a while ago. I don't think she's actually given a reason why they've split up. Like, I tell you what, if you look through the videos that I've done, I remember, so I think there's more to come from this girl. I think she'll fall out with her family now. I don't think she'll be able to cope she's used to, as much as she'd be whinging about her mum and the way her mum treated her, but her mum will have treated her like she was the only thing in the world, because she was the only thing in her mum's world. Probably the only other thing her mum had in her world was the telly and food, by the look of it. I don't think her mum had any life outside Gypsy. So, and I think as time went on, Gypsy definitely got a lot more freedom than she lets on about. She certainly had control over money and things, because she sent her fiance Nicholas, the one that she convinced to murder her mother, she sent him the money to buy a knife, to come over to the house. Nicholas had no money. It was her who said, so where did she get the money from? So, she's not the innocent little puppet that she makes herself out to be, in my opinion. And although, I do see that she I just wonder what chance did she have, really, because I just don't know. Maybe she needs more therapy. I don't know, but I do feel for Nicholas, because he's never even mentioned. It's as if Nicholas never existed. This girl will just, work her way through anyone that it suits her to work her way through. I think and maybe not her fault, but still, I think that's how it is. But see, this guy, can't even remember his name, Ryan. Watch for a book coming from Ryan. You can bet 100% Ryan will be working on a book. My life with Gypsy Rose, or my divorce with Gypsy Rose, or my jail wedding with Gypsy Rose. He'll be working on a book as we speak, and a book will be coming out, and that's how he'll make his money. I don't know how will it work. Did he have to sign a prenuptial agreement? Because Gypsy's probably worth a few bob now, because she's appeared on all these news programs. She's written a book. She's she'll have made some money, and I don't blame her for trying to make money, because this is a story. When she came out of prison, it's a story that's only, in this day and age, stories don't stay popular for long, do they? Because there's always another story coming on. So she's trying to get all the interviews in, trying to, the Netflix deal or whatever she's got. And I don't blame her for that. She's got to think about her future. Because you can't imagine her really working in a normal job, can you? You can't imagine her working at the Tesco at the end of the road, because she wouldn't get any peace, would she? So, but I wonder if he had to sign a prenuptial agreement, or do you think, do you think now this is going to be a messy divorce where there's going to be money involved? He's a teacher. He's a special needs teacher, of all things. So, yeah. More to come on this story, definitely. There's definitely more to come. But I wanted to share it with you because this is a case that we did follow, and we followed it when she came out of prison. Hi, Wendy Wu. Yeah, I think that's exactly what she does, Slinky Socks, because he'll have been useful when she came out of prison for the attention, and her and a new, well, it wasn't a new husband. They'd been married for nearly 2 years when he came out of prison, but they'd only met in prison, so there was all this icky, that they'd finally managed to sort of consummate the marriage and consummate the marriage. Oh, and then we got all that information that we didn't want about him rocking the world every night, and the way they were talking to each other, it was revolting. So, because those kind of things, when you're in a relationship, I mean, those are the sort of private things, aren't they, that you send each other messages. And I'm not saying that people don't do that. I know that people do that, and I'm not saying I haven't done it, but it's not the sort of thing you want shared with the world. People are mortified when any personal exchanges come out, aren't they? Normally they're mortified. Even famous celebrities don't like their when you're in love with someone and you're in that sort of lovely, honeymoon type period, and you're sending messages and this, that, and the other, and it's all a bit. But when you look at it coldly from outside, it's a bit, you don't want to see somebody else's private messages and stuff, and you certainly don't want anyone to see yours. In fact, don't even look back at like looking back over things from previous relationships. Do you think, oh God, did I really say that? Did I really do that? But no, not her. But of course, she has been brought up like that. She's been brought up, everything public, everything about, superficiality. This is what I worry about Gypsy, is the way that she's been brought up to manipulate. She's been brought up to be something she's not. So maybe she doesn't know exactly what she is. And maybe that is what she should work on. Just trying to work out who is she without any show, without any manipulation. That's right. Intimate is, you don't, even if your loved one sends you a lovely message, and if it's a bit, a bit spicy, you don't say to your friend, oh, look at this, what Fred sent me. That was just a name I conjured out of fresh air. I didn't mean Fred West. You don't want people to see your private messages, because they are, when you take them out of context, they are pretty cringy, but they were telling the world, it was like, anyway. Hey. Okay, so I'm going now, and I'll tell you why, because at 4:00 in about 25 minutes, there's a premiere of some of the members live that I did last night. I've released some of it in a premiere, so I'm going, but I'll be back for the premiere. Hopefully I'll see you all here. Thanks for being here with me for this update, and I will now try and remember to put in the description box or in the comments the other videos that I made about Gypsy, because it's a very sad story. That's what we must not forget. Whatever anyone thinks of Dee Dee, and trouble is, none of us know Dee Dee's side of anything, because Dee Dee was brutally murdered, screaming out her daughter's name while her daughter was shaving her legs and her lady bits, ready to have a session with her murderer. So I think we can never forget that. That is what happened. And although Gypsy was young at the time and she'd gone through lots of young people do bad things, but they don't murder their parents, or even abusive parents. So I don't accept all this. I think Gypsy is a bit of a sly one, personally, and I think watch out and see, because there'll be more coming. Okay, till I see you again, may your God go with you. Adios.